Partisan cable news loves nothing more than someone turning on their own party and finally telling the truth. Today, Tulsi Gabbard proved she, Adam Kinzinger, and Liz Cheney, all three, have something in common. They believe it's all about them. If only we listened to them and their bravery crossing party lines, then they could save us and they could save the republic. First, former Congresswoman and failed candidate for president, Tulsi Gabbard, today.
I believe in a government that's of the people, by the people, and for the people. Unfortunately, today's Democratic Party does not. If you can no longer stomach the direction that the so-called woke Democratic Party ideologues are taking our country, I'm calling on my fellow common sense, independent-minded Democrats to join me in leaving the Democratic Party.
It's interesting because she didn't feel that way in Congress. She voted with her party 97% of the time. She voted for things Fox News hates. I know this because I worked at Fox News. But today, she was a folk hero on Fox News Channel 4 telling the truth.
Tulsi Gabbard, 1 month before the election, is saying, you know what? Goodbye, Democratic Party.
Her willingness to speak out boldly and stand against this radical agenda, this wokeness.
And the fact that they couldn't make room for a veteran, an articulate woman of conscience who has called them. This is a woman who supported, by the way, Bernie Sanders. So she's hardly some right-winger who was embedded in the Democratic Party.
She believed in what she was doing.
To be fair, people change their mind, right? Winston Churchill famously changed parties and then changed back again, remarking anyone can rat, but it takes a certain amount of ingenuity to re-rat. Which brings us to Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney, both Republican members of Congress. Cheney especially was known for a conservative perspective, but now that she and Kinzinger hate Trump, MSNBC and CNN loves them. They are almost saintly.
And because Liz Cheney is one of the only Republicans in leadership willing to see this insanity for what it is, she is being purged from her position.
You have the two people who are trying to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States, who are calling out these bizarre conspiracy theories.
To stand for truth, to reject the lies.
A close watch on Wyoming, and what happens there tonight could add to a trend, and that is election deniers winning primaries around the nation. What does that mean for our democracy?
When Kinzinger and Cheney go on MSNBC or CNN, the hosts don't bat an eye. You can see they sort of like salivate over them. The hosts never ask about abortion or same-sex marriage or taxes or transgender rights or any issue that normally liberal media questions Republicans about. Not one. So long as Republicans will talk about how bad Trump is, well, then they get free airtime. They are edgy. They are interesting.
I feel sad about where my party is. I feel sad about the way that too many of my colleagues have responded to what I think is a great moral test.
When I went to Sunday school, it was always about telling the truth.
I'm going to make sure Donald Trump, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure he's not the nominee. And if he is the nominee, I won't be a Republican.
All right. So what else do all these three have in common? They have or had presidential ambitions. To be fair, what politician doesn't, especially members of Congress? 535 members between the House and Senate, at least 2/3 get out of bed every day, look in the mirror and say, "Good morning, Mr. President." So maybe Gabbard, Cheney, and Kinzinger aren't much different than every other politician who says whatever they think will work at the moment. Chadwick Moore is here. He's only slightly more cynical than I am. He is the author of So You've Been Sent to Diversity Training, and is with us now. All right, since I had someone on more cynical than me, if you tell me I'm being too cynical, I will rethink my position. Am I?
I think you're being too cynical. Well, no. Actually, I do think you're being too cynical, because as someone who also used to vote Democrat and had a really big awakening around the time of Donald Trump, and I know so many people who've had this experience, everything Tulsi Gabbard really speaks to me. Like, I relate to that very much so. And things have only gotten worse, you know, especially as she talks about how it's a party of warmongering and censorship and weaponizing the DOJ against your opponents. I'm like, go for it. She's on this trajectory for a while, too. And she's also not said that she's going to start endorsing Republicans in the way that those other two have. Now, what we've seen, though, what I sort of believe is this big division in the mono party, the one-party Democrat-Republican rule. And what's been kind of siphoned off from that is a lot of this sort of Trumpy base, a lot of Bernie Sanders supporters, too. And people
you make a great point that there's this rebalancing, right? I remember in the 2016 primaries, we used to try to find the unicorn, which was somebody at a Trump rally who was only at a Trump rally because Bernie Sanders was their first pick and Sanders lost. Turns out they were all over the place. So that's an excellent point. But you think about the sort of notoriety these party changers get, whether it's Cheney and Kinzinger or Tulsi Gabbard. They're not even party changers, sort of party deniers, because they don't go over to the other side. Adam Kinzinger was on MSNBC this morning endorsing secretaries of state races. If you were a backbencher Republican and you called MSNBC and said, "Oh, I want to come on and endorse certain people for Secretary of State," they would laugh you out of the room. It's only because he has an R next to his name and he's willing to endorse a Democrat.
Well, I just wonder how well embraced by Democrats they really would be and not just useful. I feel like Tulsi Gabbard's being very much embraced by the right. They kind of understand the kind of civil libertarian attitude, which I think she does have, maybe on social issues like abortion, I don't know, or gay marriage or things like that, even though a majority of Republicans do support gay marriage. But, these two, it's like they both lost they don't have futures in Congress anymore. They're vying for like CNN contracts or something like that. And they want to pledge their allegiance to the establishment, to permanent Washington, which will love you, Democrat, Republican, whatever, as long as you are support, you hate Trump, you support the war machine, you support this, that, and the other. Doesn't matter if you're a D or an R. Tulsi Gabbard's kind of an outsider. Don't know what she's going to do yet. I see people floating around the idea she's going to run as independent in 2024.
Oh, come on. Really, be serious, right? I mean, Tulsi Gabbard's not going to be a 2024 serious presidential contender.
No, I've heard people say that. I don't believe that. But I've heard people say that. I've heard people think she'll be a VP.
People say a lot of things. Let me just toss this out there. Yeah. She's got give her the benefit of the doubt, right? Which is sort of an American value. You give people that. She's got a podcast out. She's trying to make a name for herself. This certainly has gotten her a lot more media attention than she's had over a past couple of years. You've got Adam Kinzinger, who's probably either looking for a CNN contract or a defense contractor board seat or VP title. Liz Cheney certainly wouldn't mind a few corporate boards after she leaves the Congress in January. Does this sort of all just come down to money for these folks, you think?
Well, I think in a way it's survival. They gotta work, they gotta eat. Obviously, a Cheney wouldn't have any problem with that in Washington, and Kinzinger might not either. I don't know, but everyone's kind of on a hustle, aren't they? So if I don't think that this seems like such a long time coming for Tulsi. I'm like, wait, she didn't leave the Democrat. Every time I see her on TV, I'm surprised that she hadn't left the Democrat Party at this point. Maybe it was sort of time with the podcast. I don't know, but it seems genuine. It seems sincere, and it seems like it's a long time coming, especially from her.
Well, to be fair, it was a long time coming for Ronald Reagan, and then he became president. So we might not count her out too early. Hey, Chadwick, the book right now is So You've Been Sent to Diversity Training. Normally when we're, showing book titles, the host has gotten a copy, which I have not, but I'm going to order one on Amazon, all right?
Well, thank you for your support.
There you go.
I'll sign it for you.
All right, I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.